Do you know what song this is from? Please tell me that you do. Now, why is this little music box so important? I mean, it's just a box, right? But it's actually not. It's way more than a box. It's actually a connection. And behind that connection is the very thing that has changed everything for me. It's practically the thing that has changed my entire life and set it off to a completely different trajectory back in 2021. And if I were to have known how crucial connections like this were from the beginning, I would have spent so much more time on them. What's going on, everybody? Mikey Olexy here. And today I wanted to use one of my deepest and personal experiences as an example and share with you the power of connections, because I've learned that connections are one of the major stepping stones to any type of growth, because we are what we consume, and that includes our surroundings. That includes who we talk to, who we interact with, what we listen to. It goes far beyond just the food that we eat. And this little music box, well, it plays a major role into, well, where it all started. Anyways, story time. Back in 2021, I was afraid to talk to people, especially people that were better than me. I was afraid to talk to people because I thought that they were going to think that I was stupid, that I wasn't good enough, that, maybe it's like, this guy, he's all right, but we don't really align. And I was just really afraid. I don't know what the word is, insecure. I was really insecure about talking to people that were better than me. And it was really hard because I wanted to take my photo and video career to the next level. This is the point where I was like, I just want to start making money with this already. I want to start taking this in the direction of working with big clients. I wanted to work with commercialized stuff, not some little, rinky dinky small time gigs. I wanted to take things to the next level, but I didn't know how to go about with it. I also felt that when it came to my work, that there were things that were missing. It went to the point where I'm like, I'm just tired of this. I feel like I need something new. I tried to figure out, what to do, but I kept getting hit with roadblocks. But at the end of 2021, that is when everything changed for me. So it was a late October night that I got a notification on my phone. And it was a notification that somebody posted in a Peter McKinnon group. Now, if you know who Peter McKinnon is, you know about photography, cinematography, color grading, Lightroom, knives, pens, the list goes on. But I was in this group because, I wanted to hang out with a bunch of like-minded individuals. And so I seen that somebody posted that they were featured on Peter's channel called Editing Your Photos. And I was like, holy shit, that's awesome. I know what it's like to be able to be in contact and be featured and hang out with some of your biggest heroes, especially in the music scene. And so I was like, dude, congratulations. This is awesome. You totally deserve it. The photo that was edited was by this massive lake, super snowy and cold. It was like something that you would see in Game of Thrones. I commented on the post, and then I was like, I want to check out this guy's work on Instagram. So I looked him up on Instagram, and I seen that he had all this typography and design elements, and it was so attention to detail. And everything was just so perfect and clean. I'm like, what? This guy only has like 4,000 or 5,000 followers. Like, why does he not have more? Like, this work is insane. None of it ever disappointed. So I was like, dude, your work is insane. If you don't mind, if I share with you one of my photos, could you tell me what you would do to make it look a little bit more natural, or perhaps even, give me some critiques so that way maybe I can become better and get away from this little, roadblock that I'm currently facing. And he's like, yeah, no problem. I sent him the photo, and he picked it apart, like all the way down to how there were sticks in very specific areas of the photos. And he's like, dude, get rid of all this. And I'm like, wow, that was one that was just deep in the feels, But after I sent him the photo and he critiqued it, I said, dude, how about this? I'll send you a couple photos and you can pick one, and I'll send you that raw. And then you can edit it in a style, and then I'll edit it in a style. Or what we could do is we can pick a specific style to try to fit what's best for the style that we chose. he's like, I'm game. So I sent him this photo of a bridge. My edit was absolutely atrocious. His was really, really good. But he also liked some of the techniques that I had going on. And that's where I learned that I had way too much contrast in my photos. I didn't know it before this, but I know it now. And so I asked him, dude, why don't we do this little thing back and forth where I'll send you images, you can critique them, and then you can do that with me, where you send me images and I'll critique them. But we're going to make a little rule here that no matter what, we're not going to get upset. We're going to see it from a third party, non-biased perspective, and we're only here to help each other grow. So don't really take it personal and just see it as advice. And he's like, all right, I'm game. Weeks to a month pass by. I ask him, dude, what do you do for business? How do you go about with the whole business thing? And then he laid everything out for me. And this is where I learned business. He's like, all right, Mike, listen up. You need a professional email, a good email signature. You need a good website. You need to know how to construct a email and pitch something to somebody properly. You got to do it to the right person. You have to understand psychology and human behavior, and the list goes on and on and on. I'm like, holy shit. I had no idea that all this stuff goes into it. I'm like, all right, this is a good challenge. Let's try it out. So I went out, made a professional email. He helped me with a email signature, got a website built, made my own little thing for a portfolio. But I really wanted to work with Clocks and Colors. So I was like, I'm going to make these guys my first client that I work with. I was thinking about what do I have to shoot for a portfolio to send to them. So then maybe we can work together. Maybe we can align. And I had nothing. So I spent my last $225 on this ring right here. This is the Aura, the Peter McKinnon edition. I don't know if it's going to focus, but let's hope. Anyways, I had this massive narrative of me going to shoot this ring in the mountains. It inspired me to go to the mountains and shoot them and shoot this ring there. So I had all this DIY stuff from, maps of New York to, me making intricate plans, and it was wild. So I sent them like 120 some photos, but I had this massive email and I had no idea what I was doing. And Jess was like, dude, they don't have time to read a book. Cut this down, eliminate the fluff, and get straight to the point. And that's when I learned about writing emails and pitching. But in the email that I sent out, I asked if I can have some products in return. I asked if I can have maybe a necklace and a ring, or maybe 2 rings, something of that sort. And they said, all right, well, we'll let you choose 2 rings. How's that sound? So they sent me both these 2 right here, which are the Voyager and the Shield. And I was absolutely mind blown. I just got 2 free products that I'm going to essentially be able to shoot for them as well. And there's a potential possibility that they'll be using these images as well for their social media and or marketing campaigns. And I just landed like a first client. Even though that it's not paid, it's still paid through product versus service. And I just landed that. That's awesome. I need to do more of this. And this right here is actually where my entire business journey started, of how I can become an entrepreneur, go about with being a photographer, a filmmaker, now diverting towards a creative agency. That is where everything started. And I would have never had the foundational blueprint without Jess, without making that little connection of reaching out to somebody on Facebook, through Instagram as well, talking about photos. And it just doesn't stop there, because now at this point, me and him have also dove into other interests. Like, I've never been knowledgeable of sleep. When I told him that I was only sleeping like 3 to 4 hours a day, he's like, dude, how are you alive? All the way to, he's opened doors for me with learning about matcha, yerba mate, different focus protocols, because I have really bad ADHD, and he knows my story with my brain surgery and all this other stuff. And I've helped him with a bunch of things as well. The things that we've learned together, starting with business stuff, was I need to not go and swing the axe and ask questions later. So like, if somebody were to send me some snarky email, he'd be like, dude, don't do it. Don't be like, fuck you. Gotta be nice and professional. And then, I believe that I've also helped him understand sometimes you gotta be like, dude, can't do it. you're not going to take advantage of me. All the way to us both learning personal branding and branding as a whole, storytelling techniques, DaVinci Resolve, that entire learning curve. I was coming from Premiere. He was coming from Final Cut. That entire learning curve, that was insane because we just found out this whole thing with Gamma. We call it the Gamma monster, the final boss of exporting, because whatever was happening in the viewer in DaVinci was not happening on the export because it was this crazy contrast shift. And the entire learning curve with that and color grading with that was insane, to learning how people behave for psychology with telling stories and how to really hook people in. And it's just, there's so much stuff. We both learned that we're crazy perfectionists, and that's one of the main drawbacks, one of the biggest hurdles that I'm still learning to get over with creating content, and him as well. But it's just a big learning experience, ultimately in the end, that we are a lot like each other, to the point of where we will literally obsess over something for an entire 2 weeks, 3 weeks to a month, whatever, to get the answer that we want as to why something is working a specific way. Paying attention to the fine details. He's even got me into design. That's where my entire graphic design journey started as well, and it's amazing on how much you can learn, how much experience you can have just by reaching out to somebody and not being afraid to say, hey man, how's it going? Love what you're doing. Let's connect. All right, now for the big question. What does this box have anything to do with our story? Well, when me and Jes were getting to know each other, we found out that we are massive Lord of the Rings fans. I love Lord of the Rings. He loves Lord of the Rings. If you know what song this is, it is the start of an amazing story. Quite like the story between me and Jes. And one year, Christmas was coming up. It was actually 2 years ago. And I was like, I want to find this song in a little music box. And I want to send it to him for Christmas. And at the bottom, there's a custom little poem, if you will, that I inscribed. And it says, let's go on an adventure of a lifetime from bearing summits of the highest peaks to the green grass fields beneath our feet, to where there's nothing dwarves and hobbits cannot achieve, because Jes has a saying that nothing is impossible, because in the word it spells out I'm possible. In fact, another thing that proves that nothing is impossible, after 4 years of him and I being best friends, I got to meet him for the first time. We got to meet up in BC. I got to fly to another country for the first time in my life. Got to hang out with somebody that I talked to every single day for the first time in 4 years. And it's almost as if like we're not even far from each other at all. But I got to hang out with him and hike crazy mountains, go to a national park. I got to experience something more than what I'm so used to. I got the taste of being able to go somewhere that I never thought I would ever be able to go to. When I left, I bawled my eyes out because I've never had somebody believe in me the same way that he has. I've never had somebody that actually cared so much about where I went in life, and that actually put some type of effort into caring about what would happen to me. And it really proves that if you just take the risk and don't be afraid to ask questions to people, change your perspective and change the direction of your life, of where you want to be, and do the things that you have to because you have to, because you want to, you know? And don't really be afraid of the discomfort, because fear is the mind killer. And in order to overcome it, you need to bear the summit. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it has inspired you in some way to go out and make the connections, even if it's just one, to help make things possible for you, because nothing is impossible. And if you did like hanging out with me today, drop a like, Hit up the comment section. I'm always down for some conversation. Of course, subscribe. That's how it is. That's just the thing. That's just a YouTube thing, I guess, That's what everyone says. But I'm not telling you how to live your life. So, catch y'all in the next one. Bear the Summit. Peace.